Welcome guys. So in this lecture, let us try to understand how GitHub Copilot plugins can help in make our life easy when working with Selenium WebDriver Java for tests as well as framework design. So what is GitHub Copilot? First of all, let's try to understand before we take that help. So we all know about AI assistant applications like ChatGPT, Gemini, all these, right? So those are interfaces where you ask anything and you get a response. But what if you have a lot of code in your IDE, right? So you have a project which is sitting in your local editors like Intellij, Eclipse, VS Code. So now to interact with AI and solve your files, you can do two ways. One way is giving all the information about your project, what you have in your local, everything you have to clearly prompt in your AI applications like ChatGPT and ask a question. So instead, what GitHub Copilot does is it have an extensions where that AI intelligence can plug in your IDE, in the editor where you write your code. So that way, by default, that plugin will have access to your entire project. So, it gives you better answers, and the prompting instructions also can reduce because it can get complete context by looking your framework. Now, let me take this framework. This is one of the project for Selenium framework design. So by looking at this, if I have a AI plugin somewhere here that which can get access to this entire project, by looking at these files, it can understand the context better and can suggest the solutions accordingly, right? So having this in your IDE will make more sense to write a code in your way of writing your framework. So that's how GitHub Copilot will help us to solve the problems. Now, when you go to their official website, they have their own AI assistant as well, which you can try on github.com. But I am more interested on the extensions what it provides for the IDEs. Okay, so right now, when you scroll down, so here are favorite platforms that GitHub Copilot can be used as a plugins. One is obviously VS Code because Microsoft is backed by GitHub and Visual Studio. So you will definitely have a nice support for Visual Studio editors. Apart from that, you have a support for Xcode and JetBrains IDE. So for writing Selenium Java code, there are two favorite editors, Eclipse and JetBrains IDE. There is not much difference. Like you can just import the Maven project in both of the tools and you can start working. I know most people are in Eclipse for Selenium Java, but Eclipse does not have a proper stable support for GitHub Copilot add-ons. So they are officially supporting JetBrains IDE. So which is also one of the famous IDE for working with Java projects. Okay, so as we are dealing with Selenium WebDriver with Java, let's go and get a JetBrains IDE, which is IntelliJ, right? And let's import our Selenium project and have this plugin, and let's try to understand what capabilities that Copilot can do for us. Okay, so it can create a files. So that is not a great, but the great thing here is it creates files following the format of your existing files. So it can understand your framework format and create test and page object files accordingly. It can create Selenium methods with locators, sexpath, CSS, if you provide HTML input of the page. And it can understand your project hierarchy and establish connection across multiple files to solve the code. And more importantly, it fixes errors in your project files if there are any compile errors or runtime errors. And it can search and retrieve method usages wherever you have in project. It can add necessary comments, documentation to improve code reliability, and it can convert your code to plain English as well as vice versa. If you give a manual test scenario, it tries its best to convert into Selenium Java code. Okay, and it optimizes the existing code. If you have any PR comments which you got for your pull request, it can help you to optimize code accordingly. And if you are working with Cucumber, it can also generate step definition implementations. A lot of cool things this AI can do. And let's see in action step by step how we can do in one of the existing framework, which I am going to take as an example today, right? So go and install IntelliJ. If you don't have one, it's very easy. Go to JetBrains or just say Intellij Java. If you want to download that IDE, and if you have not having it in the past. So this is the official website, jetbrains.com. So here where you can download. So it's a professional. We don't need professional version. Just go to download here, and instead of ultimate, probably you can select the community edition. Basically, this is the version you need. This is an IDE for Java. Go ahead and download this IntelliJ IDEA, right? So once you download, maybe I'll do something, file new project. And then actually I'll say existing project, open. So I have my project sitting somewhere here. Yeah, this is my Maven project. So I'm going to import this Maven project, and then yeah, it's already there. So I am seeing it here. So very few steps, that file, open project, and you can open your project here. So now next step, you have to get a Copilot GitHub plugin. So for that, go to file, settings. In that settings, you will see related to plugins. Okay. And come to marketplace. This is the place where you will install new plugins. So try for GitHub Copilot. Yeah, this is the plugin we need. So install it. It will just take few seconds, as it is just 13.8 MB. All right, so once it is installed, you have to restart your IDE to see the changes applied for your editor. That's all. So with this, you are good to get started. Take any project you have in your system, whatever Selenium project you have. And one thing, guys, when you try to access GitHub Copilot, you need to sign in first, right? So you have to have GitHub account basically to handle this Copilot. You can get started for free if you go to their official website, create your GitHub account. I already have my account. Okay, so you can get started for free and sign in. So once you create your account, here when you try to access Copilot chat, so basically on the right side you will see icon like this. Okay, so if you have not signed in, probably it will prompt you asking to sign in with a pop-up where you just need to click on sign in button. It will redirect you to browser. You sign in here, and then you come back that it will be auto signed here. Okay, as I have already signed up, I am not getting that pop-up. So for first time you might get it. Make sure you sign in to your GitHub account. All right. So next step here, you need to start asking questions, whatever you have. So first of all, let me try to understand the code. So this is a framework where page object files are sitting in the main folder and tests are sitting in the test folder. Okay. So in the main folder, these are my page object files. What you can see here. This is not required. Let me delete it. Right. Now landing page is there, order page is there, all these pages are there. So to keep you things simple, I am actually automating this website. rahulshettyacademy.com/client. This is the page where you will log in and you will see cart page, checkout page, order page, all the pages what you are dealing with. Okay. Now let's say one page is missing here, which is a registration page. We didn't automate that case. So let's say in this sprint, you guys are working on the registration page, which has recently built. So to go to the registration page, you will go here and this is the page. So firstly, you need to start with a page object file. Okay. And your page object files follow some structure. If you carefully observe in each file that it is extending its parent class called abstract component. And it is creating a constructor where it is initializing driver and also sending this driver to the parent class. So if you see all page object files, there is one standard way your framework is solving in declaring the driver and sending the driver to the test, right? So now you want to create a new file. So you want that to be in the framework standards, right? There is no point in simply creating file in your own way. That doesn't work. It has to be inlined in this way so that you can connect all the dots. So now let's try to ask Copilot, same thing. First of all, I will feed it with some information. So I'll open plus icon and all opened files, whatever I opened in the tab here, everything shows up here. Let's say add all open files. Okay. And I'll remove this test cases. These are page object files, guys. Now I'm giving knowledge of these files to my Copilot. Okay. And I'm asking create, I would say registration page object class in similar fashion of the files attached. You can ask, in any way which makes more sense and giving correct context. So here I'm asking create registration page object class in similar fashion of attached files, because these are my page object classes. Okay. And these are different models you have where Copilot give you access to use to generate answer. Again, here comes a tricky question. What is the security behind it? Okay, so you are working in your company and you have your own files. Is it good to send to these models? So the way how companies are working is everyone is evolving in terms of security and privacy. So few companies already started deploying their enterprise large language models. Okay, all these are LLMs, large language models. So now GPT is there. This is a generic model. But for your own company, they are coming with the enterprise LLMs, which they host in your cloud, and they will make sure that it has a privacy, that they don't use that data for their trainings. There are different ways companies are approaching to provide a security large language model access for their company employees. Similarly, when you have like this, you need to check with your DevOps team or security team on what kind of plugins, what kind of model we have available, right? So those models you can choose. And if you don't have any restriction, because you are not sharing any sensitive information, if you feel, and if it's allowed in your company, then you can choose this. But people started using it. So instead of cloud, you can also have a GitHub enterprise version. You can check with your DevOps team. So they will host all these large language models in your cloud by using GitHub enterprise, or you can have local LLMs as well. So there are different ways the security can be achieved, and we are evolving and understanding, and people are trying different approach. By the time you watch this video, you would have seen some solution in your company which you need to check with them. Okay. So I'm selecting GPT-4 for now, and then I'm submitting to get my answer. So I'm asking to create a registration page object class. Here you go. So it is doing something. See that it is creating a registration page, but exactly the way I want, how our current page object file is, that extending abstract component, constructor, driver. See, this is how we want, right? If I want to create new file, this should be the approach, and it has did it. Perfect. Okay. So what you can do now, simply create a new file, new Java class, and then call it as a registration page. So you can copy this entire code, copy code block, and you can paste it here. And that's it. You're all set in creating your first file. So same way, however, your other page object files are there, you have created your own registration page. Awesome. Now, I want to generate Selenium action methods with accurate locators. Let's see that. So you created registration page object file, and now you have action there. What is your action? This. You need to create a Selenium action method to register. So let's try to take a HTML out of it. If you hover your cursor, now whole section is wrapped in this class, login wrap, or you can, this is better one, login wrapper. So what I'll do is I'll right click here, copy outer HTML. I just copied the whole box HTML there, right? And I will come back to my Copilot. Now I'm going to ask a question. So below is my outer HTML. I won't type that HTML now. Let me complete my prompt. So based on this, I'm just asking, based on this, can you prepare I would say Selenium action method to complete registration by giving all input fields. So basically I'm asking that this is the HTML. So take classes, ID, CSS, everything is there because I copied the whole bunch of section here. So I'm asking to go through it, find out the CSS, find out the XPaths, everything, and prepare me a method so that I can complete registration which can provide all inputs. I don't want to code or I don't want to find the locators manually, right? I'm just giving the complete HTML and then let's see what this does for us. Awesome. See, it's creating an action method. See, this time it is updating your page object file again with a new way, right? It created actual fields and here you go, complete registration, select occupation, select gender. All the action methods what are required for you got created. And this is a real Selenium code. Okay, it created XPath, CSS, everything for you. This is super cool, right? Now, just copy this whole code and you can apply to your project. Copy code block, and if you want, you can replace it again and then come back and check. You have a method ready. So everything, I'm able to create my page object class. I'm able to create my action methods, locators, everything with simply AI prompts. This is how, AI comes into help when you have within your own IDE, right? Because it is trying to understand. So same thing you can ask in general ChatGPT, Gemini, Cloud also. But problem is all these things you need to attach there and ask. But here with inbuilt, you can simply, we just clicked on plus icon, we just selected those files and ran. So you have that convenience if AI is within your IDE, so it can read your existing code and answer you the questions better, right? Next, I'll go back to now test case. Tests are present basically in this Java folder, test Java, and here are the tests, and let's go to submit order test. Let me close this for now. And this is the submit order where I log in on the landing page. So before I log in, I have to complete registration. So for that, I have my page object file created as well as Selenium action methods also created. I want to call here. How can I call? So it's easy. You can create object of that class and send driver, all that you can do. But why to take a risk? That also you can ask at this point. Okay, now close all this because you are not dealing with page object files anymore. So you need to provide a better context, right? So now I am going to just give the knowledge of submit order test. That's it. And now I'll just ask, I am pointing my cursor here. Line number 63 in submit order test file. Can we call registration method here what we created? That's my goal. Created in registration page object class, because I have to use that code here in my test. That's my ultimate goal, right? So I'm asking, I don't know how you created, what is the class, what is the constructor, what are the parameters I need to send. Do all that for me and place it here. That's my question. And now I think it will regenerate the entire class for you. You see that by having that context. Here you go. So registration, see, it created object for your class and then it called complete registration method. Okay, and the beauty part here is the data is being driven here from JSON. So I am taking it as an input.get email, input.get password. So what it is suggesting is to create data now, it's not hard coding. It is giving the data as per your current test case. If your current test case is driving somehow using input.get, it is also suggesting in the same way, right? Now you can just copy this code and put it here. So it is your headache now to fill data, right? It gave you exactly in the way how it is expecting that data, because my test can be fed with the data like this, input.get of email. That means it gets the data from JSON, right? So in the same fashion, it has given that these are the parameters you need to enter for complete registration method. But that's super cool, right? So not just page object files creating Selenium action methods, how to use them in your test, and that also it can be done based on your current test context. It understood the context and prepared the utility file accordingly. All right. So that is one of the way that it establishes connection between multiple files. So now let's identify and fix errors in this project file. So there are multiple errors here. I have not imported anything for now, right? And let me do another mistake. I removed brackets. So there are a lot of errors going in this file. Okay. Now I'll go back to GitHub Copilot again and I'll say fix the errors in this file. Let's see what it does. Okay, so to fix errors, it is saying that, look at here, you need to import the registration page. That is important. And ensure this method is correctly called. And it is fixing it. Let's see. And that's all. Okay, see, it fixed this, the bracket which we missed. Super. Now, what I'll do, because it fixed the error, I'll simply copy this whole code. And I'll replace here. And here you go, there is no error now. But still, I see there is page objects dot registration page is an error here. We have registration page. Oh, that's why. So we need to set package name. I think that reference is missing. And now, perfect. It fixed the errors. It fixed back the curly braces or brackets which is missing. So if you have any compile errors in your test, no need to panic. Just open the AI assistant and ask, fix it. It will give you fixed, and also it will tell you what went wrong. So you can go through it and understand. Okay, so very cool. Now next, I have to know somewhere I am using screenshot method in this entire project. I don't know where I am using, but I have to update that code. That is my current requirement. So what you can do is simply type @ and you see there is a project. When you give @project, it have access to entire project. So now I have to find out where that get screenshot method is implemented in the project. So I'll just ask, go and find it. Initially, we will search in the project with IDE available plugins, or you go to each file and see where exactly it is defined. So no need. You just give @project and ask, I want to know where get screenshot method is implemented in the project. Because if you are working in real time, you can relate to this. Some method will fail in the log and you don't know exactly where that method is called in this whole framework. But now I can ask a question to find out. Let's see. Get screenshot method. Okay, so get screenshot method is implemented in the base test class. Here is where the method is there. So base test class, where is it? From your test itself, you have somewhere on the top base test. Go here and it is telling that this method is present somewhere here. Go down and you will see get screenshot. You see, it exactly pointed out to the piece of code where it is present in your entire project. So this will come very handy. Trust me, if you are good in debugging, in fixing the test in your project, finding out a relevant piece of information in your project is very headache. But now asking that lines exactly to point out and it will tell you. And not just that, it will tell you where exactly this is used. This get screenshot method, where are the references the class is used, all that you can see here. So that is one way that you can search for anything in your project by just giving that @project, so that search will be on global level instead of attachments what you add on file side. Great. Now next, now you have, let's say you submitted this code to pull request to merge into your develop branch in your company, and then you got a comment saying where are the documentation that what this method does, and give me the comments exactly what these two steps are done. I mean, put in the comment / and make this whole test more readability. And that's where, let's say you got the comment. What will you do now? Will you go and update every method, description, documentation, and add a comments? No need. let Copilot handle that. So again, I'll just add this submit order test and I'll just ask, can you prepare documentation and add necessary comments to this test code wherever applicable to make it more readable. Okay, so this is my ask. Let's see. Now the test is very code manner, that it does not have any proper comments, documentation, anything. Now you see the way it generates for you. Lot of inputs. Okay, this is cool. This is what I want. Documentation means what the class does, what this method does, what are the parameters this method is expecting, what the exceptions it is handling, and the test method is about. And you see, every step it is instantiating the registration page, comment, and complete the registration process, log into application. Let me, just quickly copy this code and show you better on the screen. Yeah, so when I say documentation, I mean to say a documentation for the method. So what this test method is about, what are the parameters it is expecting, and what are the exceptions it is handling, right? And not just that, we also asked code comments. So this will log into application. Previously, we don't have all this. Now it nicely segregated that it get the list of products and add the product to the cart. Go to the cart page, check out, verify the message. And now what this test does, this test verifies order history. And what this test does, this test is to submit an order. There is clear documentation now as well as code comments everywhere. And what this data provider does, this is to supply test data for your test. Okay, and what it is returning, everything is in detailed manner. Okay, so next time when you get a comments, do remember that you have a AI Copilot with you to write it with a hassle-free. Okay, what next? So convert automation code into plain English. Fine. Now there is a test like this, guys. It's obviously still technical, though you have a comments, because you don't have a cucumber gherkin here. So it looks slightly thick. Now I want to know what is the test it tried to implement it here. Give me the documented manual test case in plain English. So you can just ask for the same test, can you create plain English manual test case with steps? If someone asking you what exactly this test is implementing, then instead of typing a big email, you can just ask AI and that will give you the clear information that what is the test case ID, test case name, its objective, preconditions, test steps, you see, and how it is doing the registration, data, everything in detailed manner along with expected results, post conditions. Awesome, right? The complete test scenario. So let's say, you have a automation test like this, and suddenly if you get a requirement in your company that we need to have a documentation of what exactly these tests are doing, and that we need to record them in any tools like Jira or QC. Simple. Ask it to create a documentation in plain English. So it will create all the test case details for you with expected result, actual result, post condition, precondition, and you can dump directly in your test management tools. All right. So that is the way you can not only just generate comments for your existing test, the whole test also you can convert into plain English. And you know what, if it understands the context better, you can give the complete manual test case like this, and you can ask to convert it into Selenium also. You can do vice versa also. Okay, so make sure you give enough page object knowledge, all the files knowledge, and ask them to convert. It will, at least give some closure answer. I won't say that it will convert everything for you, but at least 50-60% it will solve your headache of giving all the structure, and you can just make final changes. Now, optimize the test code based on the PR comments by your peer reviewed team. So when you are working in a team, you write a code, you put a PR, right? PR means pull request to merge your code to the branch. So that time where people will look at your code and either they approve or they put some comments. So let's say in our case, the comment is, especially me giving you the comment, what is this? I did not understand. I know that you try to write everything in one line, but this is confusing. What exactly this does? Can you write a for loop or something and make it more readable so that people can understand what exactly it's happening? I can see multidimensional, I can see hash map listing here, lot of things going in. Can you break this up? This is what, let's say your PR comment and you need to fix it. How will you fix it? It's easy. Ask AI, can we optimize below method in this file for more clear, meaningful way? If needed, use for loop, because that's how we got comment. Okay, so what is that method? Get data, right? So that's why I'm saying, can we optimize below method in this file clear, meaningful? Exactly the way you got the comment, take that comment, put it here, and then ask Copilot to do the stuff for you. All right, so to optimize it, awesome, it has done. And it is very clear now. Let me show you. So let's expand this. Now, if you try to understand that, first create a multi-dimensional object array which can hold the test data. Okay. And then test data is sitting in this list. So first of all, I will iterate through this list using for loop, because this is the comment we got. Use for loop here for more readability. And exactly our Copilot gave in that way. We are using for loop to iterate over the list. And every time when we are iterating, we are feeding the item what we have in the list to this multi-dimensional array. You see that the item from the list is retrieved and then it got feeded into multi-dimensional array. So here they created a separate step for multi-dimensional array creation and the list creation, and for loop to iterate over list and feed the data to multi-dimensional, and finally we are sending multi-dimensional object back. This is very clear, right? And see how is this? Okay, I mean, this is good, but you know what? If people expect more readability, or even if you don't understand what it is doing, so today you joined the company, you don't know what it is doing, just go to Copilot and ask me, explain this clearly, and then it will detail you like this and give you more clarity. And by looking at this, let's say you did not understand what exactly this is doing. What is this object array? You can still talk, because you are new to the team. You don't know how code is implemented. You need not reach anyone. So what is this object array? And then Copilot will give you more information. It is a two-dimensional. That's what we are talking, right? Where each element is an object. And it gave you example for you to understand. So you can get clarity on the basics about the code, what you see there, and then you can come back. So like that, it will also help you in learning, not just optimizing. Okay, so do remember this. I personally use this. If I get any complex code, I'll ask how to, this whole code is framed. I'll try to learn from there itself so I can form the better picture of the code here. Awesome. So we have seen a lot of things here, how to fix errors, how to optimize the code, how to understand the code, how to generate comments, documentation, how to create action methods, page object files, find out the elements in the project, right? Whatnot. I think these are the scenarios you work on daily basis, and this is how this IDE Copilot extension will help you to solve. So finally, this is pretty straightforward. I think this is obvious for you by now by looking all this information. Generate step definition implementation for Cucumber feature file. So if you have any Cucumber feature file, I think I have it here. Submit order. Copy this code, and I just asked to create skeleton of step definition file. So create step definition file for below future. Or why do you need to give? Actually, you can attach it, right? So give plus icon, and did you get dot feature? Yeah, I'm just asking to create step definition for feature file. Submit order feature file. Let's see what it does. So you need not go and write syntaxes manually every time. Now it will just see. It knows everything now. Launching application, confirmation page. It has created a whole step definition file for you because it knows submit order test code. So it has a knowledge of your raw code, right? So this is the raw code. It knows that it is present in the test.ng file, and now I have to dump back it into a step definition file based on the feature file. So it has nicely broke down everything and created a ready-made step definition file. So tomorrow, if someone asks you to convert your project into Cucumber, it's very easy using co-plugins, right? You can just dump your existing test.ng code and give the feature file, and it will create you step definition file. Okay, so like this, there are endless possibilities, guys. I'm just showing how can it be used on daily basis with some common problems, but the list is endless. It's up to you how you are asking a question by providing enough data. Okay, bottom line here is a context. How much context you are providing by giving the files information, and how nicely you are framing a question so that AI can understand. That's it. It can do anything for you in its ability. Okay, so that's how you can use a GitHub Copilot plugin for your Selenium WebDriver Java code. It could be plain test, or it could be test.ng framework, Cucumber framework, page object, whatever it is. It is going to help and be as your co-buddy in your learning. All right. Thank you.